Hi everyone, and welcome to our first video of the BricksMembers tutorial series. Here in this series, in this playlist on YouTube, I will show you everything step by step that you can do with BricksMembers. And in this video, we are starting with the plugin installation, license, and also I will give you a guide through the whole backend of BricksMembers so that you know where you find everything. And also if I talk about something in future tutorials, that you know exactly what I'm talking about when I refer to certain pages or so in the backend. So let's get started directly. You can either directly click a magic link in your email after purchase that leads you to your account page, or you can at any time go to the login part here of the BricksMembers website, put in your purchase email, click send login link, and it will send you a magic link that also leads you to your account. And this is how it looks like. So you find an overview of your license and also all the downloads. So you click download for the latest version, and then you can install your plugin. So you simply go to add plugins on your website, choose file, and then you click install now. Let's do that. Activate the plugin, and there we go. Now you find BricksMembers in your WordPress sidebar, so you can click on that directly, and it only shows you the license page. So you quickly go to your account, copy the license key, paste it in here, and click activate license. And it's activated, and you can directly see all pages here. And by the way, you don't need to worry if for whatever reason your license gets deactivated in the future. Again, all the pages here will stay there, all your settings will stay, and the plugin will keep working. Nothing will change. The only thing that changes then, of course, is that you don't have access to plugins anymore. And for like premium support on that page here, on the support page, you would also have to activate the license again. But you don't need to worry that maybe if you forgot to pay your subscription on time or so, that suddenly your whole membership website will stop working and your members get angry or something like that. That won't happen. It's just that you have to initially put in the license key one time, and then the plugin knows already that you at least had a license at one point. Anyway, let me give you a quick tour of the backend so you know where everything is. And I won't start here at the very top now. I want to show you the support page at first, because it's kind of related to the license essentially. Like when you get to that page, it directly shows you if your support is active or not. And here you can, in case you have any problems or so, directly open a support ticket. You just type in the subject, the message, and if you want to include system info or not, it is recommended, because then I essentially see all the plugins you use, etc. And that helps me to figure out what the issue might be in case you have any problems with it. But if you want to keep that private, no worries. You can just uncheck this checkbox and send your ticket. And in case your support is expired, you find a renew link here and directly at the top, and it will also give you a message for that. But let's come to the settings page now, where you find all the general settings, and you can also turn your modules on, and you get some additional tools here. So let's go through it quickly. Display settings, breadcrumb separator. This is for the breadcrumb dynamic tag. There you can define essentially what separator it should use. By standard, it's this arrow to the right one here. Then under manage user roles, you can create and remove WordPress user roles. This is not necessarily important for the plugin or for user access or so. This is just for yourself. So in case you want to separate your members, for example, from other users of the site, like you can totally just assign user levels to normal subscribers. But I, for example, prefer to have my own student or member user role for it. So to do that here, you just type in member, for example, then you click create role. Okay, it gives you a little confirmation, and there you see now under remove role directly that member is being created. And I can of course remove that as well. So the role is removed again from WordPress. Again, like this has nothing to do with user levels or so. This is just for yourself to give your members a different user role in WordPress than all the others. And let's come next to modules here. Like BricksMembers is a modular plugin because I want to keep it as lightweight as possible. We're only loading the code that you actually need. And so here you can turn all the optional modules on if you want to, if you actually need them. And that is the user level menu widget. Let's actually turn that on now and all others, so that I can show you in the backend as well how everything works. Then we have the enable like button system here. It's in case you want to have the like button element activated in Bricks Builder. You can basically put that into all your post templates, etc., so that people can like posts. We'll also extend that feature later. Enable protected download system. That's when you want to have downloads of files that are actually protected, that Google or anyone from the internet cannot access, but only your members if they have the right user level. And progress tracking system, if you want to use progress tracking for your online courses so that students can see how much they completed already per course or so. And also the drip content system. And so let's click Save Settings here. By the way, what I suggest you when it comes to those modules, at least for progress tracking and enable drip content system, is that you should set up all your content, like your content structures content, like courses, etc., with BricksMembers, before you turn those on, because those modules run computations that can be a bit heavy if you have large structures, and that might save you a bit of time when you activate them later after you set your content up. But I will do that for now so that you can see everything. Also, when you activate certain modules here, they do create some additional database tables, especially progress tracking and drip content, because we use more efficient tables for that, because otherwise the plugin would be quite a bit slower. Okay, let's come to the next one. This is the performance tab here, and you essentially don't have to do anything here. What it does here essentially is that when you activate the plugin for the very first time, it runs a very quick test to see the performance of your host, and it applies a certain tier, a performance tier, to your website then. And based on that tier, when we run any sort of computations in the admin backend to compute progress, for example, for your students or so, then it defines the amount of posts and users that are being batched, because if you're on a very slow host and we use a high number, you might get a timeout. And of course, we want to prevent that here. And so with this feature, essentially, we are ensuring that you get maximum performance, but we're not risking any timeouts or so. So there are no problems happening during computations. So you don't have to do anything here. It's just that, let's say, for example, you develop your site on a local environment and then you want to push it live later. Then after pushing it live, you want to click redetect now here, so that in case you used a higher performance tier than your actual host is, that it's actually detected and that you don't get any problems down the road with timeouts or so. So much about performance. Let's come to the maintenance tab here. And there at first you find the database environment doctor. This is a little tool that you need for migrations if you want to migrate from one host to the other, and also from your local environment to an actual host, because there might be some issues with the database, and that's like one tool that you need then. I won't go in depth here now because I will make a separate video about all these migration tools that you have. And below that, you find the content navigation updates, rebuild progress system, and drip unlocks backfill buttons here, plus flush rewrite rules, object cache, and delete all progress data. Now, you will likely never need them, but in case something is off, in case something doesn't show up in the front end as it should be, then what I would suggest you do is to simply click run on content navigation updates. I won't do that now because we don't actually have any content on that page currently. But then it will automatically compute all that data that we compute to be able to load faster in the front end. Like, we're computing some structure path data for our content structures, so that essentially, for example, a post knows directly what its ancestor posts are. Like a lesson, for example, knows in which module it is and in which course automatically without loading any additional data. And it also knows the next post and the previous post, etc. Like, we store some data there and compute that. And same goes for the progress system. We're having pre-computed progress there, so that we don't have to compute the progress per user on the fly. And the same goes for drip content, like what content is already unlocked based on your drip rules. And so if there's anything wrong in there, then of course it can be that something is being shown wrong in the front end. So this is like a quick fix. If you click any of those buttons, then this will be recomputed and should work directly. I usually suggest you to only click the run button on the content navigation updates, because that automatically triggers the progress and drip unlocks as well, because they depend on the content navigation. So everything is recomputed then essentially. And of course, usually nothing should be wrong there. It should actually not be that you would ever need to use those buttons. So in case anything happens where you would need to use them, and please leave me a support ticket at first, because then there might be a bug somewhere or something, maybe an edge case or so that I have overlooked. And in that case, I of course want to fix that as soon as possible. And then we also have flash rewrite rules. You already know that from WordPress. It's just a bit easier than to use than going to the permalinks page all the time and clicking save. And the same goes for object cache, just in case something got stale, but actually it never happens through all my testing. So object cache should really be something that you never need. And delete all progress data, just in case maybe you really want to restart your pages. So then you can delete all the progress here. And yeah, let's come to the Advanced tab. Advanced is at first only for exporting and importing your settings, just in case you use some standard settings or so that you want to reuse some on other pages. Then you can export them all here via JSON file. It actually works really nice. And uninstall options, in case you want to uninstall BricksMembers, then you can also select to delete everything here. And we also have the test data generator. So in case you want to quickly test BricksMembers, or you want to get started quickly to see what it can do for yourself, you can use test data here. But in order to use it currently in the current version, you will have to use WP debug in your WP config file to make it happen. But in a future version, I think from 0.9.4, it's not just basically a beta feature anymore. It's something that actually works really good now, so you will be able to always use that. And it's actually quite nice if you don't have a current project that you want to work on, then you can simply just install some test data there, including Bricks post templates, and you can get started right away and play around with this plugin. It's also great for reviewers, by the way. And yeah, so much about the general settings page. Let's quickly go through everything else here. And here we have user levels. You just click add new level to create user levels. That will be part of the next video, I think, yeah. And then content structures. Content structures is a feature where you can create your own course hierarchies. Like you can create a hierarchy of like course lesson or course module lesson, etc. So here you can do all of that. I will also come to that in a later video. Access control. This will also be another video. Like here you can essentially control how it behaves when a user is not logged in. And also for logged in users, you can restrict access to all the admin stuff, like the top bar and the sidebar of WordPress essentially. Like usually you don't want members to see that. And we also have some general redirects here. And then content hierarchy. This is essentially for if you want to migrate something, or maybe you set up in the content structures page, because there you can essentially assign parents to certain posts quickly. Like for example, you have a lesson post, then you can assign module or course posts there easily and in bulk. And then drip content. This is only enabled if you enabled the drip content module here on the module settings page. Otherwise, you won't see that. And here you can set up all your drip rules so that you can display content over time instead of giving users access to everything directly. I will also make another video about that. And then bulk assign levels. This is for user levels. There you can essentially bulk assign user levels to all sorts of content on your website. And CSV import export. This is especially useful for migrations. When you migrate from another system, for example, and you want to import all your users in bulk, including their user levels, level assignments, so that all user levels are correctly assigned directly based on some columns in a CSV file, for example, then you can do that here. You can also export users in case you want to use another system, or also for a migration to another BricksMembers installation. Like we're not locking you in here. Like if you want to use another provider after some time, you can totally do that. And under level automation, you can set up rules that apply user levels automatically when you create new content. Let's say you have a certain user level that unlocks everything, then of course you don't want to add that anytime when you create a new post, for example, or a new term or so. And with these rules, you can ensure that certain levels are automatically assigned always to certain types of content. Saves you a bit of time, then you don't have to do that all the time yourself. And webhooks, this is essentially where you connect your payment providers. So there you find the webhook URL and the webhook secret. We also have provider templates here, but yeah, we'll come to that in another video. And then webhook mapping. This is also important to connect your provider because there you essentially tell the plugin what user level should be triggered from what webhook data. So it's a really important page, and I will get more in-depth in a tutorial. And content migration page, as the name suggests, this is also for migrating content, but this is more for content that already existed in your WordPress installation in case you used any other membership plugin before that use custom post types or terms or so, or you even had a custom solution, because these tools here allow you to migrate content to the native BricksMember structures so that the parents are automatically assigned correctly, etc. Because otherwise it might actually be quite time intensive, but you definitely need a proper explanation to use those tools. So I will also make a video about that. And then also quite interesting here, we have the benchmark page. It's probably not so important for most users, but just in case you want to know how well your BricksMembers installation performs, then you can, for example, turn on the query counter here, and then it will give you a little counter at the bottom right in your screen in the front end where it shows you how many database queries BricksMembers and also WordPress in general does, because that's a good indicator of how well optimized your membership site actually is. And when we come to the performance in a future tutorial video, you will also see there is a little bit that you can do actually to optimize your membership sites when it comes to performance, because you can't really cache those sites aside from object caching, because it shows different content to different users. And that's why performance is actually really important for membership sites, because everything is essentially being computed on the fly. And we also have a full benchmark functionality at the bottom, which you should take with a grain of salt. But I will go more in depth about that too. And yeah, because we turned the downloads module on now, we also have this downloads page here in the WordPress sidebar. I made it be able to access a bit quicker for you here. And yeah, we will also talk about that in the download tutorial. But yeah, if I ever talk about the downloads page in any tutorials you you find it directly in the sidebar and not in BricksMembers. And there's one more thing that's important to mention here, which is the content structure interface. And that's, for example, if I create a test structure here now, just type something in here, create structure, cool. Now you see we have tests here on the side, and this opens this page. And this is what I call the content structure UI or structure UI, because there you can manage your whole content structure. Like if I go into edit mode here, I can create a test course and don't need to insert anything here. And then I can create lessons in there, lesson 1. So this is where you can set up all your content essentially hierarchically. And yeah, that's why like whenever I refer to content structure interface or structure UI, anywhere in the documentation or also in the tutorials in the future, you will find that here. And yeah, that's it for this video. Now you know how to set BricksMembers up and where you find everything. In the next one, we will create our first user levels.